I bought this car for $500 and I forced my son to drive it for the last 3 years. I don't know how to finish that off. Hello and welcome to Gears and Tech. No, you did not hear wrong. I really did buy this car for $500. And it was perfectly running and driving. Well, when I say perfectly, I mean it ran sort of. Hey, before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you have been to this channel at least one time before, that means that this is your second time and you are still not subscribed. Obviously, you're enjoying this content. Obviously, YouTube wants you to see this content because you're seeing it again. We have a lot of return visitors, but we're not getting the subscribers like we hoped we would. We're counting on you to subscribe so we can make better content. So, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button and the bell. This algorithm will just get blown out of the water and it'll just tell the whole world, I like this video. And with that, let's get back to the content. So here's the deal. When I bought this car, this front lower control arm had broken. The ball joint had broke right off. So this whole front tire was just hanging out sideways and looked really bad. So the person that was selling it knew that they weren't gonna fix it. It's not a car that you really fix. So they were selling it at a cheap price. I think they were asking like $700 or $800. I said, look, I'll give you $500 and then a quick trip to the wrecker, and we were able to get the parts we needed to put it back on the road. It was really inexpensive. I did make a video about going to the wrecker. You can check that out in the description. I'll put it down there. But really, it worked out very, very well for my son because he had just turned 16 years old. You don't want to waste your money on a really nice car for your 16-year-old son to just smash up and abuse. How much will a 16-year-old abuse a car? Not just this car, but any car. Let's talk about this car. When we got this car, it had 320,000 kilometers on it. Don't kid yourself, that's a lot of kilometers for this thing to have driven when we bought it 3 years ago. Currently, this car has 365,000 kilometers, and that was driven over the course of 3 years. You remember I said a 16-year-old was driving it, so I am gonna talk about the maintenance and what's wrong with the car now. You will be very surprised at what is wrong with this car when it comes up, so stick around for that. So this car is a 1998 Honda CR-V. So this particular one came with power windows, it came with cruise control, it came with power electric mirrors, it came with power locks, it has the factory Honda radio still, which had a CD player and built-in anti-theft. It does have AC and the AC still works. 365,000 kilometers, still with working AC. The engine is a 2-liter B20 dual overhead cam engine. It is an automatic transmission. If you know the Honda transmissions in this era, they were practically bulletproof. There's a lot of other cool features here. It has this really neat middle compartment thing that flips up. It has a really cool table that's part of the back hatch. It's a 5-person capacity, but as far as options and features go, there was a lot for a car of this age, and especially for a car of $500. Now that we've talked a little bit about kind of what it would have had, let's talk about what this one has and what else it had when we bought it. This radiator hose was also ballooned right out. It was super fat and was very thin, especially on the back side here. It was ready to burst when we bought it 3 years ago. You can tell that the engine has not been shampooed or cleaned in a very long time. It is very dirty under here, but it gives you a good idea of what it looks like. So you remember I said my 16-year-old son drove this. Now I showed him when we bought this car, he helped me do the control arm. He helped me do that lower ball joint. I've also taught him how to do oil changes, and I told him, you know, you want to do an oil change every 4,000 to 6,000 kilometers. And a very important tip that most teenagers don't understand. Oil is not like gasoline. With gasoline, as long as you still have some, you're good. With oil, that's not the case. You do want the oil to actually be on the dipstick still, something that many of my children have still not figured out. My son understands that you do need oil at least on the dipstick, so for the past 3 years, he has been topping the oil up and has never done an oil change. Not a single oil change. He has driven about 45,000 kilometers with 0 oil changes. Now that might make you think, well, that's why you're making this video, because after 3 years, obviously the car's broken. Is the car broken? We're gonna find out. But I'm not gonna show you yet because there's a few more things that I wanna go over. This tire, it has a slow leak. It's always had a slow leak. He just drives it like that. There is definitely paint peeling with rust spots coming through. The paint overall is in good shape. There's no hail damage or anything on it. You can see from the reflection across the hood. The headlights are in good shape. They're still in one piece. The back brakes on here are drum brakes, but the front do at least have disc brakes. But overall, all of the features on this car still works. So the question that you've been asking me, does it start? Look at that. You can hear how smooth this engine's running. It's not misfiring, there's no knock. It's just the sound of a cold engine. It still sounds like the day it was brand new. It's still running. Now that asks the question, does it still move? Let's find out. Okay, so I proved that it starts. I proved that I can pull it out of the garage, but let's see what happens when we drive it down the street. What does it sound like? What does it look like? So right off the bat, I can tell you, it's a little ambitious with the shifting. It is revving kind of high before it shifts, but it's cold still. Okay, so it accelerates, it downshifts when you accelerate. But yeah, this is running great. So that's it. Obviously, the car still runs, the car still drives 360,000 kilometers, and it's still going. This car will be passed on to somebody new. Why? Well, really, there's no good reason why. My son just decided he's got a job, he's making money, he doesn't need to drive this old piece of junk. He was in for a major surprise when we were looking at cars that were 4 times as much as this car, that were only as good as this car. So remember, power windows, power locks, power mirrors, AC, cruise control. This has it all. So what's the moral of this story? The Honda CR-V is a great car if you want a beater that will go forever and just keep on running. And now we're gonna either pass it on to my daughter to use, who just turned 16, or we're just gonna see if we can sell it now that winter's coming. It's still worth a mint. This car, I think this car that you've just seen right here, I can sell for $1,200. So we've driven it for 3 years. We've put maybe $50 worth of service work into it, no oil changes, no nothing, and we're gonna double our money off of it. You watch. For more great tips and car unveils just like this, subscribe to the channel down below. We do have a lot of great content in our back library. You can check out some of our videos right over here, and we hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.